I just want to know if I can shut down my computer.
Your computer. Our problem is that, I mean, for instance, this category, which is really about leaking documents that shouldn't really have been leaked. I don't know how appropriate it is to broadcast the documents themselves. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to keep your computer open at least for a while. Once we leave this topic, which won't take long. And it all, in fact, in truth, when I look at this topic, it relates to historical material that I don't think is relevant any longer. So I think we can actually broadcast.
Yeah, as long as you get me an experienced therapist when we are done.
Should I be issuing any indemnities here? Well, the first document, and I want to go quickly through this category because it's not that significant, it spans pages 5, 6, 5, 9, and it's a document in which Major General Khan was going back to December 2020 when he was delegated increased powers within crime intelligence. He shared that document first with Mr. Sayed, which we see at 5659, and Mr. Sayed responded, "Well done, my brew," at the foot of 5660. And he also shared it with Mr. Valley, which we see at 5021, and Mr. Valley said, "This is great news." It's really, as I emphasize it, it's not sinister, but it's probably not appropriate. I don't think that internal delegation documents within crime intelligence ought to be shared with friends. There's a similar pattern that one sees, and I'll run quickly through these. 6466, an appointment to a role within the anti-kidnapping task force and what his responsibilities will be there. He shares with Mr. Sayed, who responds, "My man," with some exclamation marks. And likewise, when he is invited as part of a police delegation to address the Joint Standing Commission on Intelligence, flying down on the police jet, he forwards that email to his friends. One sees it at 6693 to Mr. Sayed. One sees it at 4129 to another friend, Brad K9, who says, "You are a jet setter." These are not particularly egregious, they're possibly just not appropriate. But then there is a separate pattern which starts becoming more problematic, and that is a pattern where friends of General Khan will send him case numbers and ask him for some assistance in relation to those case numbers. So we see that across a number of chats, some without explanation, some with explanation. So at page 2740, Mr. Sanjay Ajodia, who is saved as Sanjay Che 357, and 357 is the name of the vehicle, the sort of high-end vehicle workshop that Mr. Ajodia and Mr. Valley are partners in, sends him a case number on the 12th of March 2021 with no explanation. At page 5990, we see a case number being sent by Mr. Sayed, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema. We'll get back to this one in more detail later. We see that at 15th of June 2021, Mr. Sayed says, "Need to know the complainant in case number," gives the case number and says, "Juju Brew." Then we get even more sinister exchanges of this nature. So for instance, if we go to page 5370, or even 5369, we see an exchange between Mr. Valley, and I emphasize it's not this Mr. Valley or any relation, it's Mr. Ismail Valley, on the 28th of September 2021, at the foot of 5369, Mr. Valley greets General Khan. Then over the page he says, "Can you see what a case is about if I get you a case number? Commercial crimes, hawks." General Khan says, "Yes, bro." And Ismail Valley says, "Hawks called me now." Gives the name of the Hawks officer, gives the case officer. General Khan says, "Which police station?" Then a bit later, not so much later, an hour later, Mr. Valley says, "I went in, bro, utter cuck, I'll tell bro when I see you." General Khan says, "Okay, thanks." And Mr. Valley responds with an abusive comment about the Hawks. General Khan says, "Do you need me to do anything?" Mr. Valley says, no, Chaskalson blood. "I will save you for a day when I really need you." Although there are laughing emojis after that, which may signify a joke, but General Khan says, "I'm here for you, bro." And it may have been intended as a joke, but later in the chats between Mr. Valley and General Khan, we see that it may not have, it may be a bit more serious than that. This relates to a different case altogether. And we see this at 5487, and at the foot of 5487, Mr. Valley gives the name of a person, and then underneath, at the top of 5488, this is on the 15th of April 2022, says, "Because in position of fraud PRP," they're saying. And General Khan says, "Slams bro, did that person come home today?" Mr. Valley says, "Gee, yes." "Is your contact sorted?" he asks. General Khan says, "Okay." Mr. Valley thanks him, says the wit lawyer or the vit lawyer. And then General Khan says, "We just have to make it disappear now." That's at the top of 5489. And Mr. Valley says, "Gee, can you, bro? I'll get the toppy to sort." And General Khan says, "Tomorrow, 1400, we can see him at the hotel." So there is a suggestion that General Khan can make a criminal complaint or a criminal charge disappear in this exchange at the request of Mr. Valley. There is a later exchange of a similar nature, which we see at 5605. And at the foot of 5605, it's now the 27th of May, 2023. Mr. Valley sends some case numbers. He says, "Morning, brew, mom," and he sends what looks like a case number for Pretoria and another case number for East London. The case number for Pretoria had the prefix SH, and General Khan says, "What is SH?" Mr. Valley responds, "She lives in Chatsworth, Durban," but says underneath, "How's it, brew? All's well. My mom's case number from the lawyers is," and gives a case number. General Khan gives a thumbs up. It says, "Waiting to see the boss to discuss." Jazakala. Islam's big bro, the case in Pretoria Central to be heard in August, old lady's case. And General Khan says, "Okay." And again, the suggestion in this exchange is that General Khan is going to do something to sort out Mr. Valley's mother's problems with this case that is in Pretoria. That is what I wanted to draw attention to under this topic. I now want to turn to the relationship between General Khan, Mr. Sayed, and Mr. Malema. And there are various themes that run through the chats in this regard. The first one that I want to start with begins, and it's probably, it begins with xenophobic protests in 2021, which is a reminder that we haven't moved on so far in the last 5 years. If we go to and also a reminder of Mr. Malema's principled stand in relation to xenophobia. If we go to 5963, we see at the 10th of June 2021, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan 6 messages, which he says come from Mr. Malema, and we'll take the messages and then explain why I say they come from Mr. Malema. The first one was a photograph of a person that's been deleted and that is no longer legible. The second was a picture of an Operation Dudula poster, in which Operation Dudula was threatening to remove all illegal foreign nationals by force and was calling for a meeting on June 16, 2021, and had the threat underneath: if you are operating illegally, you better pack and leave before 16 June. If we go over to the next page, still at the same time, and one sees that the first 4 messages are all have the same time, because they are in fact forwarded messages to General Khan from Mr. Sayed. He forwards: must I tell the General? Must be arrested tonight? Yes. So those are 5 messages that are forwarded messages with the same timestamp, and then Mr. Sayed explains from Juju. That's a message from Mr. Sayed to General Khan. And then what comes afterwards is another forwarded message which says, okay, done. So essentially what Mr. Sayed is communicating is that he has been asked by Mr. Malema to forward the first 5 messages to General Khan. Well, he's been asked by Mr. Malema to forward those messages to General Khan. He has, in the second last message with the timestamp 101:33, he explains to General Khan that it's from Mr. Malema, and then he forwards his response to Mr. Malema, which is, okay, done, I have forwarded these to the General. Now that takes place on the 10th of June. The very next day, if we go down to 5971, General Khan sends to Mr. Sayed draft questions for the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that is at 11th of June at message time 1:51:47. And again, we have a problem that we frequently had with these message times, that they're 2 hours out because they are UTC, not South African Standard Time. So the questions that General Khan has drafted are: convicted drug dealer and member in the agent program, and the name has been redacted, claims to be close friends with you. Is this true? 2, do you take instructions from this person, as he alleges he has a close relationship with you? 3, What gratification does the Inspector General of Intelligence enjoy from this person? For how long has the Inspector General been a captured public service servant of, and then that person? So these are draft questions that General Khan has prepared, which he is going to essentially ask Mr. Malema to arrange to be put to the Inspector General in Parliament through the EFF. If we go down to page 5975, and sorry, I just want to emphasize at that stage, General Khan is not dealing directly with Mr. Malema. He is sending messages to Mr. Sayed. But the channel is to Mr. Malema, whether Mr. Malema is aware of General Khan's motives or not. We see that because at 5975, Mr. Sayed sends back to General Khan questions that have now been formulated to the Minister of Police and to the Inspector General of Intelligence. And these questions, and in fact the name is not going to be redacted in these questions, I'm told the name's been mentioned publicly already. These questions that Mr. Sayed sends back read as follows. First, questions to Minister of Police, written reply. 1, do you have any relationship with convicted drag lord? There's a misspelling of drug lord. Drag lord Timi Marimutu? If so, what's its nature and does it include discussing crime intelligence matters? 2, have you been in contact with Timi Marimutu and discussed crime intelligence matters related to the Inspector General of Intelligence and the removal of General Jacobs as head of crime intelligence? 3, have you had any discussions with convicted drug lord Timi Marimutu regarding the supposed deal made by former President Jacob Zuma and Major General Feroz Khan that he will use state intelligence resources to ensure the election of Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma as president of the ANC? If so, what security clearance did Timi Marimutu attain to discuss crime intelligence matters with you as a minister? Those were the proposed questions to the Minister of Police, and the proposed questions to the Inspector General follow. 1, do you have any relationship with convicted drug lord Timi Marimutu? If so, what is its nature and does it include discussing matters relating to crime intelligence? 2, have you had any discussions with Timi Marimutu regarding the removal of General Peter Jacobs as head of crime intelligence? If so, what security clearance gives Timi Marimutu access to you as the Inspector General of Intelligence, particularly as it relates to discussions of crime intelligence matters? Mr. Sayed explains below, Juju sent me now. General Khan's response is, excellent, bro. Let's go to war. When are they sending it to him? And what one sees in the exchanges that follow is what one often sees in WhatsApp exchanges, where people respond to a message while the writer of that message is writing another message, and so you get responses that don't respond to the immediately preceding message. You have to work out what they respond to. So Mr. Sayed says, are you happy with the questions? In other words, are you satisfied with these questions that Mr. Malema has sent me to be put to the Minister of Police and the Inspector General of Intelligence? But then, in response to General Khan's question, when are they sending it to him, Mr. Sayed says, let me ask. Now answering whether he's happy with the questions, General Khan says, yes, bro, and then says, this should get him to lie, and in return, we can ask for his removal because he lied. So what General Khan is disclosing here is that the purpose of these questions is not to establish whether the Inspector General has a relationship of any nature with Timi Marimutu, Rather, it's to trap the Inspector General into lying in an answer to Parliament and then to use the fact that he will have lied to orchestrate his removal. Mr. Syed is still responding to the previous inquiry of General Khan, which is when are they sending the questions, and he says at 65977 at 12 June 2021, 8:49, but I think it's been sent already. He then responds to General Khan's message saying, you know, this will get him to lie and then we can get him removed. And he says, absolutely, he's going to deny it and then he's effed. Bye-bye P, ... And General Khan agrees with the abusive description of the Inspector General, says big P. Mr. Syed then says, when is it going to be fired off to them? And what we see later is that this is in fact a message that he has sent to Mr. Malema, which he's now forwarding to General Khan. The response is tomorrow. General Khan says they must fix up the spelling of drug in paragraph 1. In other words, Mr. Marumutu is a drug lord, not a drag lord. And he then, responding to when it's going to be fired off and tomorrow, he says, thanks, bro, much appreciated. And Mr. Syed then sends a screenshot of his exchanges with Mr. Malema, which show that the formulation of the question to the Inspector General of Intelligence came from Mr. Malema. That's the top of the screenshot. Paragraph 2, have you had any discussions with Timmy Marumutu regarding the removal of General Peter Jacobs as head of crime intelligence? If so, what security clearance gives Timmy Marumutu access to you as the Inspector General of Intelligence, particularly as it relates to discussions of crime intelligence matters? In fact, Mr. Syed, even before General Khan had picked up the drug lord problem, has already responded to Mr. Malema and said drug lord, not drag. And then Mr. Malema says the whole DR, I'm not sure what that relates to, but we then see a 2249 on the screenshot. And if we go back up, 2249 is what we see at 2249 is when is it going to be fired off, and the answer comes tomorrow at 2258. If we go back up to 5977 and we add the 2 hours to the UTC times, we see that when is it going to be fired off to them, it's recorded as 8:58 p.m. You add the 2 hours, it's 10:58, and tomorrow 10:58 as well. So he has forwarded that exchange with Mr. Malema immediately that it happens, and has then, for good measure, added the screenshot. The next episode in this process, it's on page 5980, and there Mr. Syed forwards to General Khan a message about the progress of the questions. He says, Parliament will probably only process them on Monday, but they process them and then send to respective ministers and institutions. A week later, at 6002, we're now on the 20th of June, Mr. Syed forwards to General Khan a screenshot from Mr. Malema. And what the screenshot shows is that Mr. Syed asks Mr. Malema, brother, when are you back? Mr. Malema says, tomorrow. Mr. Syed says, okay, let's meet tomorrow evening, please, with our general. Mr. Malema says, sharp, and there is an XAP response from Mr. Sayed. General Khan thanks Mr. Malema for setting up the meeting. So thanks Mr. Sayed for setting up the meeting with Mr. Malema. And Mr. Sayed says, "You are my brew, no need to thank me." That is the 20th of June.